All right, welcome in here for another episode of 704 Unfiltered. I'm Nick Sturtevant. Again, the point and the reason behind the show is to highlight Black voices in our community. Hear their stories, really get into the weeds, really start asking some of the tough questions. I joke with our next guest about grilling her. I'm not going to do her that bad, but let me tell you who she is because you might recognize her. So she's a cultural architect, podcaster, and artist manager. She builds brands, shape creative movements, and craft experiences that inspire connection and growth across communities. A lot to get into. We have the Simone Jala. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
How was the intro? How was it? Rate the intro 1 to 10.
That was a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
You
all right.
nailed it.
She's coming back.
And because it was a lot, you did not miss a thing, though.
All right. Okay. All right. Before I start asking you about yourself, like what you do, how are you feeling? Physically, mentally, 1 to 10.
I'm at peace.
Okay.
So I feel great. I feel good.
So you're about an 8?
8.5.
8.5? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why not a 10? Now I gotta ask, why not a 10?
I would say not a 10 because there's still things in the works, and it's like once they're done, then I'll be a 10. A 10.
But I feel like as a entrepreneur, content creator, all the above, artist manager, podcaster, I feel like there's nothing it's enough, right?
Yeah, nothing. You're right.
So it's always going to be so you're going to accomplish something else, and then it's going to be
100%. Things are always in motion.
So you're always going to be like an 8.
Not always.
Okay.
Not always, but if we're like realistically speaking, as the human being that I am today, an 8.5 is a healthy. Like that's a healthy.
That's healthy. That's healthy.
Like I could have just came from just 10. I'm a 10, and mentally, yes, I'm a 10, but 8.5, I'm there.
Being a 10, is that
a 10 is like
can you hit a 10? Is that even reality? Are we?
You can definitely hit a 10. You can hit a 10 if everything on that to-do list is checked off. Again, like saying that I'm at peace and I'm good, which I am. That's why I'm still 8.5, because it's like no matter what's going on, I'm still great. I'm still doing good. That's 8.5, but it's realistic to hit a 10. To be at a 10 every day, is that realistic? No. I'm not sure, but I'm at peace every day, which I'm okay with saying I'm at 8.5 and at peace every day.
I like that. I had to check in because you do all the things. I was like reading the bio and I'm like, she does all the things. I'm like, how does she maintain mentally and physically? Okay, 8. Okay, all right. Let's start from the beginning. Where are you from?
I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
You're from Fayetteville?
I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay. Talk about growing up in Fayetteville. I worked in Raleigh. I did some work in Fayetteville.
Tri-state.
Yeah. Well, it's a different area compared to different parts of North Carolina, to put it nicely. And to put it lovingly, because it's a great area, right?
Yeah.
Describe, like, what was that growing up in Fayetteville?
Growing up in Fayetteville... very rural area, country, very country, and there wasn't a lot to do. So my family's very close-knit, so I grew up being able to do like family dinners and gathering for the holidays and things of that nature. My mom, back then we were able to just go outside and play, but it still was like, don't go around the corner, don't go too far, don't go to where I can't see you. And it was I was able to see things from different perspectives. Again, you just said North Carolina, there's different areas.
Yeah.
So there was the nice parts of Fayetteville, and then you had your Merck and are you familiar?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. So like your Merck and the areas that weren't so good, but I was able to see all of that around me, and even through my own experience, I was able to go through certain things that made me who I am today. So growing in Fayetteville, I'm appreciative of the Ville, of 2-6. Shout out to 2-6.
I didn't want to say 2-6.
That's what made me.
I didn't want to say 2-6 and be like, yeah, you can't say that. Because
you can say that. It's 2-6.
I got friends in Durham and they're like, you can't say Bull City. Or I can't. I'm not even gonna throw it up, but you can't do the Bull City sign. If you know, you know, right?
If you know, you know. Yeah.
But I'd say Fayetteville is different. Even southeastern North Carolina, you know, you talk about Lumberton. You're not far from Lumberton. What else is in the area? Maxton. All that area is like the same.
Done.
Yeah. Oh,
it
man.
Gets country.
It gets really country.
It gets really country.
But it's very like tight knit. Like
it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like, but Fayetteville is big because remember we have Fort Bragg.
Yep.
So military base began there, and a lot of people from all over the world was coming to Fayetteville because of the military base itself. So I was able to meet people. Oh, you just moved there from Hawaii? What are you doing? What are you doing in Fayetteville? Oh, military. So, and it's crazy because my family's not military at all, but that's our home. My grandfather has 20 siblings. I think it was 22. So my family is humongous. And we go from Fayetteville, North Carolina, all the way up to Jersey. So
wow.
Yeah.
Who did you look up to growing up?
My mother.
Your mom. We were just talking about your mom, a TV reporter.
A TV reporter. I looked up to my mother, and I guess we'll bridge into that.
Yeah.
But God gave me vision at 9 years old, and at 9 I was watching my mom do a lot of things like host events for women, and being involved in the community. And I didn't notice then, but how it shaped me now. I was even hosting events for young girls. I had an event called Church Girl, where I was literally bringing young girls together. We were having food. I would get up there and talk. My mom would speak and things of that nature. So that's where it really started. When I was 9, I was watching my mom do her event, write books, sell jewelry for different brands. She was hustling and moving around. She had her master's. I told you she was a news reporter and worked in human resources. So I seen her, like, there was never a stopping point. Like, she was always able to see around the curve. And even when I was 5 and 6, we were driving around neighborhoods in Fayetteville looking at big houses. We were going to estate sales and things like that. Just she broadened my perspective at a very young age. So my mom.
So as a little girl growing up, watching your mom, you knew everything was possible.
Everything was possible.
Wow. Okay.
Everything was possible. God gave me vision at 9 years old. 9 years old. God breathe into Greater Than Where I Am, which is my nonprofit organization. I didn't know then that that's what it's going to be today, but that's when it started.
Oh man! One more question before we go to break. I guess, do you remember anything that sticks out growing up, like your mom told you, like to confirm? I know God. You know, you said you heard from God and you got that vision from God. Did your mom affirm you in any way? Did she say? Is there any particular thing she said to you?
Have a plan. I think it was to have a plan. So being in middle school, high school, I was always like, okay, I have to have a plan A, B, C. Like, if this doesn't work, I have to have something else to follow. My mom was like, no, whatever you do, you're going to have a plan. At one point, I thought I was going to be an obstetrician gynecologist. And even then, I would have had to go to school for 12 years. And with that being said, I still wanted to own my own practice then. So there was still entrepreneurship there. She just was like, always have a plan, always have steps, and always have a plan. I think that's what really stuck with me because my plan is unfolding as we speak today. So.
Shout out to mama. She didn't text you back yet, right?
Let's see.
Did she text you back?
She did.
She did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Before we go to break, what did she say? Because your mom was a news reporter.
See. WSOC.
Oh, SOC.
Yes, WSOC.
So she worked in this. Okay. She worked in this market.
But she was also on NBC News Channel before that.
Oh, okay. Shout her out real quick before we go to break.
Shanita Street.
Okay, all right. Shanita Street. That's Shanita Street. But we got the Simone Jala here on 704 Unfiltered. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just a few moments. All right, welcome back here, 704 Unfiltered. I'm with I can't forget the Simone Jala. So we're talking about growing up in Fayetteville, being affirmed by your mother, having that vision at 9 years old of what you wanted to do or what your life was going to look like. I guess I got to ask, we're here in Charlotte, how did you get from Fayetteville to Charlotte, and was Charlotte always the final destination? Well, I don't want to say the final destination because you're still young, but was that a destination?
Charlotte, I chose Charlotte 2020. I graduated high school. And then COVID happened. I thought I was going to move up north, and I was modeling then. I thought I was going to move up north and do that, but Charlotte stuck out to me. So I chose Charlotte to be the foundation. I said, Charlotte, like, what's the biggest city, like, right now with a lot of movement and motion going on? Charlotte. And even people like in Atlanta or up north would say, oh, Charlotte's not even that big yet. But I did research when I moved here, 2020, and I'm watching it grow and I'm watching things unfold. So I chose Charlotte to be foundation because of the exponential growth that I've seen business-wise.
What did you learn right out the gate when you got here to Charlotte?
There's growth.
Okay.
Like I was into Airbnbs when I moved here, so I was able to see like things building up, apartment buildings. Every time I was driving around somewhere else, there was houses being built or apartments being built. I said, oh, and the next, well now, 4 years, this is going to be insane. And it's literally growing. They're still building up apartment buildings everywhere, like tearing down trees. So it's growing. It's growing really fast.
When did the organization start? Because again, I want to make sure I get it right. I don't want to mess it up because I don't want you to come over here and beat me up. Nah, she's not gonna beat me up, y'all. The Greater Than Where I Am, and then the Greater Than University, which is the clothing brand, the extension of that. I guess when did the organization come first, and then the clothing brand, and how did that start?
So the clothing brand was the first business that I ever launched, and then I called it Authentic. It was Greater Than Co.
Okay.
I think then God was still giving me literally vision and names on what things were supposed to be, but I didn't understand where they were supposed to be placed. So I was building Greater Than Where I Am, but at first I was building it all together. And after I launched my clothing brand, it did really good. Like I did commercials, I did the marketing the right way and all that good stuff. But something told me to just sit back and pause and like look at everything. I said, okay, we have to separate these two. Like these are two separate entities. Okay, Greater Than Where I Am. That's going to be for your women. That's you showing women like they're greater than their current circumstance. Excuse me. So 2021. That was set and established as the name.
2021 seems like forever ago.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, it does. So that was 2021. That's even crazy to say, but 2021, and then Greater Than University, which I did have clothing under there, but I've changed that to Greater Than University, which is a multi-dimensional resource for creatives, entrepreneurs, hustlers, and it's an umbrella hub. So there's a few things under there. We have the Huddle, our sports division, and then we have For the Love of Business, and that's where I interview these entrepreneurs, creatives, and hustlers under there as well.
Okay. So let's start with the organization first. Okay. So Greater Than Where I Am, you do is focused on sisterhood.
Yes.
You do events. You have an event coming up.
Yes.
Right. I did my research. Talk about that. Why was it important? Why is it important to have this and to build sisterhood and to connect with folks and essentially like meet them where they're at?
Right. So I didn't go to college. And the people that I had around me, I've always been the youngest in my circle.
Are you the baby? Oh, okay. Are you the baby that? Period, friend, even in family too?
Not in family. Okay, only in friends. Only in my friend
I didn't know
group.
if you're like the baby cousin or anything, but in your friend group, you're the
my
baby.
Friend group,
okay.
Yeah. But to an extent, I am the baby on the family side too. But in the house, I'm the oldest.
Oh, okay.
I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest. So in my friend group, I'm the youngest, and I have built a crazy list of connections just from networking and having that community. And I've noticed through every season of life, there's been a good community of women around me. And that's a necessity for women as we're going through different stages and having different connection that helps us stronger. And that support system, like it's needed. It's needed. One thing I learned early is you cannot walk this walk by yourself. Like you need people. So that's how Greater Than Where I Am was established. Like I'm bridging the gap for community and just being able to show women like, hey, you're greater than your current circumstance, and there's women around you that's nudging your shoulder like, keep going, like we're rooting for you, like wherever you're at, we're meeting you, like I'm right here with you.
what have you heard from the ladies that you've been able to connect with? Like, what's their feedback, and what have you sort of picked up from them, learned from them? I know it's like a loaded question. That's a lot.
You're saying the women that was around as I was going through the different seasons?
Yeah.
A lot of them were in the entrepreneurship, having their own businesses, or even just being mentors. So just being able to watch them and watch how they move. I think something that stuck out to me was the not stopping or not giving up. Like, this is my name and this is who I am. I was able to watch that. Even, again, going back to my mom, I was able to watch her build a name and build her community of women. And through different situations that I watched her go through life, she had friends that was knocking on the door right there when something was going on. And that's literally how it starts. Like, you're in your house and it's 3 women drinking a glass of wine talking about the craziest day you've had. And I literally just watched that support system grow.
Did your mom still give you advice on like what you're doing now, or do you? I want to say you're receptive to it, but are you always receptive to the advice?
So at first I wasn't.
Okay.
I feel like we all go through that though as kids. It's like one ear and out the other, and then I was taking advice easily from everybody else. Then I sat back and I'm like, my mom's right about everything. Mothers know, so listen to your mom.
Did you tell her? Did you give her that moment like, "Ma, you were right"?
You do be right. I tell her like, yeah, you do be right. You do be right, Mom. You do be right.
She's like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I know.
Oh man.
Yeah, she's just, I know, and I'm like, okay, but I'm happy that I got to the point where I'm like, I think I was slow to speak. I used to be fast to just like always have something to say back, and it's like now I'm at a point where I sit, I listen, I observe, and then I think before I respond. So
that's so hard.
That
in practice,
that's a skill.
It's a skill because it's like you want to react, you want to defend yourself. You're like, I got to defend whatever I'm doing, and even if it's not the right thing, you're like, all right, I gotta say my piece, and sometimes it's
not needed.
It's not needed.
It's not needed at all.
But that's so hard not to do, though.
Yeah, it is, but it's not needed. Sometimes you just have to listen, and I think that goes into having community. I might have a sister or someone beside me, and they call me just to vent, or I always ask, I'm like, do you need feedback right now? Do you just need a listening ear? Like, what do you need? Because that's important in relationships. Like, you need to know. Sometimes we're so quick to speak, and sometimes they didn't call for any feedback. They just call to get something off their chest, and we're like, and it's like, that was not needed at all.
And
like,
you learned that the hard way. You're like, oh, you didn't need my, okay, all right.
Okay, I'll just
I'll let you do your thing. All right, we got the Simone Jala here on 704 Unfiltered. We're going to take another quick break. We're going to dive in. I got more questions to ask her. Stick with us. We'll be back here in a few. Welcome back here at 704 Unfiltered. I got the Simone Jala here. We talked about the organization. Let's talk about the other side of things. You are a podcaster. You also said playbook, the sports.
The huddle.
The sports. Oh, before I even ask you about that, how do you balance it all? How do you even do all of this? How does this all get done?
I get that question a lot. So I, again, have been planning this stuff for over 6 years now. And I haven't forced a thing. So when it was time for me to work on certain things, God was literally placing the people around, and it was like, okay, boom, it's time to work on this now. And I have teams set in place to make these things easy. So it's not like I'm just doing all of these things. And even when it comes to scheduling, I'll have certain days where I'm focused on certain things that I put my energy to. So I'm not just overloading myself on a Monday. I'm working on 4 different things. And it sounds like a lot, but all in all, I'm building an ecosystem. So everything that I do intertwines with the other. Like, they all fall into each other. I have the wellness side, I have the healing side, I have the community, I have the culture. So I'm bridging gaps, and they all flow within each other some way.
What do you enjoy doing the most? Is there one aspect of everything that you do that you enjoy doing the most, that it feels a little bit more effortless?
I would say because everything is community centered, and that's the base of like my purpose, everything kind of feels like the same as I'm putting energy into. So nothing's really too far off. What I'm really having fun with right now, though, in this season, is my creative direction with artists. That's bringing me a lot of joy and mental momentum and things like that right now.
Who are you working with? 'Cause I've noticed. Have you had some of your artists on the podcast, right? Or there have been artists and entrepreneurs on the podcast, right?
They have, but none of the artists that. Well, actually, one, M.I. Burgundy.
Okay.
He's an artist, upcoming artist here in Charlotte, and I actually interviewed him on the podcast.
Shout out the podcast. Now you got
the podcast is For the Love of Business. You
Okay.
can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, all your podcast platforms. We're there.
Why start working with artists? Because that's a day job within itself. They have their own brands that they got going on. What how did you get into that and why?
So my tagline is I don't just build brands, but I build worlds. So I love to help people curate not only like their brand, but the world around them. And I've always had an ear for music. And I didn't know where that ear was gonna take me. I'm like, I can't sing, I can't rap, so I'm not gonna be an artist. But where does this take me in the land of artists? But 2 years ago, I was able to be in the right rooms with the right people. And after that, I was almost in the studio every day. And I enjoy being in the studio every day, being able to curate images for artists or upload lyrics to different platforms and things of that nature and help them curate the community around them. So everything that I do leads back to a community. Building a brand, you don't just build the brand, you have to build a community around it. And I think that's the base of, I like to help people build their worlds. Because it's so far-fetched. Like, don't just build up that one thing. That one thing that you're building literally branches off to, you want to cater to the people that you're catering to, in a sense.
It's like one thing to be a great singer, great rapper, great whatever, but if you don't have a brand, then nobody cares, right?
Yeah.
Which is sad to say, right?
Yeah, but it's like, that's where I come in with the creative direction, the storytelling and like the building, the storylines behind, like people want something to gravitate to. People want something to follow. Like, oh, did you hear about, for instance, somebody who's doing a great run right now, Gunna. He's having his manager she's a female. Shout out to her, Ed DeBoss. Shout out to her. She curated his 5K run. So now people are gathering in London and in Africa to run, and this is a rapper doing this.
Talking about wellness.
Yeah. And this is what I was saying. You have to build an ecosystem. He's bridging the gaps. Wellness. He already has his culture side of things. That's a part of his community. And who maybe he has something in the work healing wise, but in that running, that wellness part is a part of healing. So he's already bridging a few gaps that's there. That's a great way to build the brand.
Now I gotta ask, who did you grow up listening to? Music-wise.
Artist-wise? Oh my God.
I feel like just knowing, I'm not going to say your mama's age, but just kind of knowing the time frame, I feel like I have some artists in mind, but I don't want you to answer that question.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I was raised in church.
Okay.
I was raised in church, so growing up, like my mom was strict on what we listen to or what we let enter our ears, right? But then it got to a certain point, I'm like, okay, like, I got to a certain age, and I was on 90s for a good little minute. My mom's favorite artist is Anita Baker. That's not 90s, that's before, but Anita Baker, Shaka Khan, those are some of my mom's favorite artists. And I think that I literally followed unintentionally, and I can't even name like specific artists because
it's just that whole era, the Anita, Shaka Khan, Lauryn
Hill for
Hill.
sure, Erykah Badu,
Ooh.
Jill Scott.
Shout out to Jill Scott.
Shout out to Jill Scott. Yeah.
I listened to it. I fully got a chance to deep dive the album recently. It's like, that's a great album.
And even the shout out to the male artists as well. Like I was listening to, crazy to say, like your Cameron, your 112, and I'm listening to everybody.
Oh man, all right, you got an old soul.
Yeah, I do.
Well, I don't want to offend our 45 and up listeners, but
my mom says you guys aren't old. You're seasoned.
Seasoned.
So no offense.
Seasoned like Bojangles fries.
Okay.
James like that. But before we go, where can folks find you?
You can find me at the Simone Jala, TSJ, it's my name. The Simone Jala on Instagram, the Simone Jala on YouTube, TikTok, Threads, and Posh.
Oh man, it was so awesome having you here on 704 Unfiltered. Welcome to the neighborhood, and you're welcome back. Don't be a stranger.
I will not be a stranger.
I got to shout out to Kayla, who helped set
Thank
this
you,
up.
Kayla.
Kayla Bullock, our fabulous producer right there. Wave at the camera up top, Kayla. There you go. We got the Simone Jala here on the show. Thank you again for stopping by, and thank you guys for watching, tuning in. We do this weekly. If you know somebody, or maybe you want to stop by the neighborhood for the show, you know how to find me. I'm not hard to reach. Until then, we'll see you guys next week.